Welcome back to the Expanded Minds podcast. Today, I have two special guests with me, and their names are James and Justin. And so, James and Justin are the faces of the YouTube channel Stay Spiritual, where they make all kinds of content from podcasts to meditation sessions to reaction videos on all things spiritual. And so, what makes James and Justin special is their down to earth and open minded approach to spirituality. So, if you take a look at their content, you can tell the pursuit of truth is genuine and also wholesome. So without further ado, welcome on James and Justin.
Hey, thanks for having us.
Yeah, thank you very much. I don't know if I've ever been called wholesome before. That's well, I definitely have actually.
Yeah, when you watch it, it's like, it's wholesome. You
I
watch
like
it, you get a good perspective on things. You walk away just like, yeah, this is very interesting.
It's an honor to be here.
Well, yeah.
And then I want to start at the beginning. Obviously, where you guys started out. Your channel name was called Coral Living, and so that was based off of spiral dynamics. And I think I have the definition right here, which is basically a model of the evolutionary development of individuals, organizations, and societies. And so, if you want to tell me about like where you guys started out, because the structure of videos were like you did a 6-minute little talk, and then you had like a 20-minute meditation session or like whatnot. And then you had, like,
we're going right back in time, man. It was I didn't even know what I was doing, man. I just knew that I wanted to do something. I was into meditation. Justin and me would get together on weekends and we'd talk about all types of interesting stuff. And, I just wanted to be a part of something that I thought was important to me and share it somehow. So I was just like, I'm going to sit on a cushion in front of a screen if that's what it takes. I didn't know what I was doing. I was like, it was intimidating, man. I didn't even start on YouTube, believe it or not. I actually started on Twitch. And they were saved on Twitch, and then I ended up pulling them off of Twitch and putting them on YouTube.
Doing tarot readings, actually.
Yeah, it was like doing tarot readings.
We should talk about for a little bit. But yeah, I saw that he started. The way it kind of, the inception for me was we were both just living a, I guess, pretty conservative life. And I would come over every weekend and blab at him about all this spiritual stuff that I was researching. And the next thing I know, he on the side, he started this spiritual channel, and I came over and the first video that I'm in on that channel, you can see me looking at everything. And I was like, this is great. This could be something, you know what I mean? And so, yeah.
You mentioned the old name of the channel. When we first started, it was Coral Living, and how it came off of spiral dynamics and stuff like that. That is actually, more than anything, is probably a good place to begin, because that was like a foundation setting, learning about spiral dynamics, how the values and models evolve and stuff over time like that. And I guess we had probably noticed changes in our own development, our own lives, and it allowed for us to be able to see, where we were at in our lives and where we could possibly be going in terms of our evolution.
Yeah. I'd been researching it. I'd been looking into spiral dynamics.
Yeah.
And I remember it's a hard sell for a lot of people. I'd be trying to tell people about it, and nobody seemed to be giving it much care or thought. And then I would come over and talk to you about it, and you were interested in it. And so I would send you videos, and the next thing I know, you started a channel. I was like, excellent. So it was perfect.
Even before that, for spiritual practices, or just in general, where'd you guys start out as, before you even made a channel and stuff? Were you guys just avid searchers, and what kind of things did you look into? I mean, spiral dynamics is probably one of them, right? I would assume. Or was it during the channel that you discovered spiral dynamics?
Well, we talk about this a lot on our channel, is kind of our past and where we've come from. We grew up in a very conservative, fundamental Christian background. And so I guess, we were both kind of moving out of that in our lives, kind of exploring other belief systems and what other people were thinking. This would have been 10 years ago. And then we were sharing stuff. He'd be like, oh, I started meditating or stuff like that, and be like, oh yeah. And then I would try it, and we just started little practices like that, whether meditation or fasting or just little things like that to help, like, level up, I guess. I don't know.
Well, the funny thing was, it seemed like I was researching esoteric stuff, and I would look into it, dabble a little bit with it, come and tell you about it, and you would run with it. You would do it like hardcore,
Yeah.
and I'd be like, I loved that. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Because I don't know, I like going forward and seeing what there is, but I'm not as much of a sit down and actually do it thoroughly type person. So that, I don't know, it worked out in that way.
Like the tarot readings, for example. Like, how did you?
That was more like,
I bought him
I
a
got it for my birthday. And so I was like, okay, I might as well try. You got it for my birthday, right? So I learned the meanings of the cards and stuff like that. And I started just like dabbling with it and doing it. And like, for me, it wasn't like I wasn't getting like supernatural, cosmic, messages from other beings or anything. It wasn't like that. It was more like I was just taking the meanings of the cards and letting the cards do the speaking for themselves, man.
Yeah.
Because the cards, they point you in a direction. And I did it for a little bit, but I was like, I don't know. I just, it's not like I didn't feel it was for me. I just didn't feel to just continue doing it. It was more like I saw it, I used it for a bit, I tried it out, and I still got the decks that are sitting on the back shelf there. I might pull them out someday. I don't know.
We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see.
You were good at it. Like, I sat in on a couple of those Twitch things, and people would say that it was helpful to them, So yeah.
Would you ever do it like for family members or like people you know?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
they were touched by it? Like, what's an
Yeah.
example of like a reading?
I just it's hard. It's been a while now. It's been like a couple years at least. I think I did some at a party once. We had some friends over, and they were like, you got to be kidding me. You have tarot cards? And so I just pulled them out and I did it for some friends. I did it for my wife and stuff like that.
But it's interesting in our neck of the woods because there's also places where people are like, you're not allowed to bring your tarot deck.
Oh,
like,
yeah,
that
yeah,
was said before too. Like, you don't bring that thing.
Yeah. You got to be careful, like, on where you're bringing it. I think like I try to be respectful. Some people, they think that like it's the devil's tool. So I'm not going to bring it to that person's house. So do out of respect, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And did you draw your logo, by the way? The I'll put a picture of
the
it.
eye. That is
the eye.
all Dolly E, baby. It was like he's the artist. I'm not much of an artist, but I used AI to create the logo.
That's very cool.
Yeah.
That's pretty psychedelic. So
I tried to. It took me a while, man. Learning how to use those tools, man, they're frustrating. And that was when they were not as like refined as they are now. When it was like just getting going, messing around with that took me a bunch of tries to find something that I actually liked. And I was like, oh, okay, I can go with that one.
Yeah, the AI stuff's getting dangerously like good,
Oh yeah, I
Awesome.
use it for the channel all the time. The AI. We talk about that. I said 2023, man, that's going to be the year of AI, and it has kind of turned out to be that way.
I'm touch and go with it because I do animation and stuff, but just 2D kind of animation. But every now and then I'll check out where AI's gotten to.
Yeah,
and it's getting more accessible, easier to use, simpler, and and crazy what you can do. Like in seconds, it'll generate something that looks astounding.
Yeah. The problem with it is that it's too spread out still, right? It's like you've got like the music AI company, the video AI company, the animation AI company. It's like if you want to put any final product together, it's like, oh, drop 20 here. And it's like before you know it, it's like, oh, I got $1,000 bill a month to make one video or something. So
yeah. And then I want to get back to your meditation sessions.
Yes.
And so how long have you been meditating for at this point? It seems like 4+ years, right?
Oh, longer than that. Longer than that, man. I would say I probably started in, I want to say since I was 36 or 37, maybe 37. So that would have been 2017. I don't know how many years is that.
I don't know.
So it's like 6 years, at least 6 years.
Yeah.
And I got off to
Time's
a good start with meditation. Well, actually, that's maybe a lie, because the first time I tried it, it was a total bust. But I did come back to it, and I was like, I'm really going to do it this time. I'm going to give this an honest go. And I did around 420 days straight of at least 20 minutes a day. And then, but I would also throw in like hour, 2 hour, 3 hour sessions in there too. While I was doing that, not every day, but I always told myself I have to do at least 20 minutes a day. And then, it's an interesting thing. Now it's not so religious now. Now it's more, I kind of like use it as I need it. Like for some reason, it's funny you asked that. I've been more on top of it this week. I've been like, I think every day this week I meditated. But it's not always like that. Sometimes I can go a week where I don't meditate. But yeah, you were like, I learned from him. He started doing it, and he was doing it here and there and in and out. Like, I don't know what
my meditation schedule is chaos. Some weeks I'm like, you only need 2 minutes a day. And then some weeks it's like, you got to meditate for like 4 hours a day. And so it's all over the place. And recently, not at all, I guess. Haven't been meditating very much at all recently.
Yeah.
Yeah. The way that you described it, though, is like very subtle changes over time, like kind of builds up compound, or James, at least, that I heard.
Yeah. Well, that seems to be my experience of meditation. And I find that the more that I'm consistent with it, the more that I do it, it helps me. It just helps me stay focused on the tasks that I need to be doing in my life. It really keeps me focused more than anything. It keeps me focused, but it also keeps me aware of my good habits and my bad habits. It's like a high-powered reminder of like bringing to light the things in your life that are important and the things that are potentially becoming problems for you, and sitting with that. And it just you can't get away. I find that I can't get away with things while I'm meditating that I can get away with when I'm not, like in terms of like bad habits. Yeah, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
In terms of like, I mean, just in your spiritual journey in general, like, who are people, or outside of your brother, like,
Yeah.
who are people that, like, for both of you guys, this is a question for both of you guys, like, who are people that pushed you to grow spiritually the most? Like, is there a certain, and also, is it like, what direction are they pushing you in?
Well, I'm sure you start first on this one, because you probably I'd like to hear your
people who pushed me to grow spiritually, like not
like what kind
including
of
just
direction?
writers or videos I've seen or something like that. You mean like real life?
Yeah, I mean, if you were to kind of see, maybe you're kind of going up a summit, right? Like on your spiritual journey, starting from here, like, who are some guys that you run into, and like, who's pushing to, go further and, climb higher, and like, what are you kind of, who are those people?
There's one person that comes to mind. I won't give too many details because I don't know that they would want to be mentioned so obviously on this, but there is one person that's a little older than me that is a Christian, actually, but they're what I would probably describe as more like an esoteric or a Christian mystic type person. And they're a lot like myself in the sense that they are pretty experimental. They'll test things out for themselves and then like sort of document the results of different spiritual practices. And I find that pretty inspiring. It gets me excited to pursue spirituality as to somebody that's doing something new. And some of the practices they adopt would be like probably overlooked by a lot of people, like engaging in something that's sort of playful, but from a meditative perspective, and then gleaning some spiritual insight due to it. You know what I mean? If you understand what I mean there.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, one person comes to mind, and then my oldest brother, he's pretty interesting. I guess all of us in our family are pretty like, divergent thinking.
Yeah.
And so just some of the philosophical discussions. Philosophy to me can be pretty spiritual. Just the idea of breaking down what is what, like, taking a different perspective of all things, to me encourages me and kind of pushes me forward, to sort of have a cutting edge mindset about things, and to me that's linked up with spirituality. I guess that's the best answer I can give.
Yeah,
right
I know
now.
like you posing the question just makes me think that like it's kind of a lonely journey at times, because we've got each other, and like you said, we come from a family that's really into this type of stuff, right? Even though we may not all believe the same things, there is, interest in God, in the supernatural, philosophy, and subjects like that, which is nice to have. That's a blessing to have that. But in terms of like when we're talking about subjects like awakening and enlightenment and non-duality, it's like outside of us, like I don't know who you talk to about that other than the online. Like this is one of the beautiful things about being able to have a conversation like this with you and other like-minded thinkers online. People are willing to have these conversations and talk about this stuff. Like a lot of those people are probably like, I don't know if like, do I say mentor? It's like I'm learning things. Like I'm pretty holistic. I like to like see what other spiritual teachers are all saying and kind of like put it together myself, find my own way.
Yeah. And just to kind of like piggyback off what you were saying, like, I don't know if it's just because we're in a sort of rural area in Ontario, Canada, but it's very conservative, man, for lack of a better word. It's the people that are religious tend to be just kind of old school church going religious people. I mean, there are some pretty witchy people too.
Oh yeah.
But even with that, I don't know that we would fit neatly into that. I mean, we associate with them, but everything I find with most people, they need to be anchored, and you're pretty anchored. But again, like I like to be a little untethered and go beyond it and question every system that I see.
Yeah.
What's going on here? Where is this limited, and where could it be break out of limitation into some, touching a more infinite.
Yeah, maybe there's groups out there. I need to get out more or something like that. But it's like I live in a town of 2,000 people, man. There's no meditation place to go talk to other people about this stuff.
Not typically.
Yeah, at least that I know of.
Is there like any teachings or maybe gurus in your opinion that aren't well known that you think have a lot of wisdom that you've applied to your own life? Like, is there somebody that you're like, this information here has definitely turned a key inside of me that's just like opened up a new perspective?
It's funny you said that, because today I was listening to, we had one guy in the show who's got a channel that's just coming up now. His name's Hans Christian Lundholm.
Yes.
I listened to him, and even today, man, I was like, wow, man, like this guy's got some, like I think he's gonna, once he gets that wheel gets going, he's gonna do just fine, because he's got some spectacular content in terms of like learning how to focus. Listening to him is like a meditation.
And Angelo.
Angelo is all of our guests are like incredible. Like I can't say anything bad about our guests. They're all amazing. I'm just saying he was like, you asked if they were like unknown yet. Angelo is more popular now. His channel's building steam. We've had people that are like just growing on the channel, while we've also had some popular people on the channel.
Peter Panagore.
Yeah. He was great too, man. Christian mystic, like John Adams, man.
John Adams,
yeah. And some really, really good guests on the show.
Yeah. That John Adams guy. I forgot. He was great too.
Yeah.
You guys uploaded a video recently on aliens, so I'm curious to hear your opinion. I'm curious to hear your opinion on them, because I'm definitely obsessed, or at least I think about extraterrestrial things a lot. So
yeah, I'm a nerd too. It's like I've got like, I don't know, one hand is in like I really do think that aliens exist. But I'm also like, let's cut the crap with these ridiculous videos that we keep seeing of like fuzzy objects I'm so sick of this stuff. Like don't show me another fuzzy object flying through the air. I can't take it anymore. It was like either like walk the alien out and introduce him to everyone, or I don't care. But it is fun to talk about. It is fun to talk about aliens. I do think they're out there, but there's also other ways to like look at aliens. Like, are they interdimensional? How do they play into consciousness? Like, do we like have to manifest them, or do they have to do they have to consciously make us real? Like, how does it work? I don't like, there's so many.
The two fields sometimes overlap, though, don't they? Like spirituality and aliens sometimes have like a weird overlap, and you'll find people that are,
Yeah, some people think that they're demons and they're you know, like, or angels.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't claim to know. Yeah. But what it would do for humanity if like there was like a no bullshit reveal of aliens, I think that would change everything.
Yeah.
Like it's would be monumental.
I would be concerned if all of a sudden it was like, okay, you know, the government's heavily involved in this, and you know, there's a lot of concern about these aliens. So the government's going to do you all a favor, and it's going to set up a little office in every town where you can go there for more information about what the information that the aliens are disseminating down to us. And so if you want to know about it, this is what, then I'd be like, okay, that's never been real. This is all bullcrap. Like, I don't have the sort of boomery mindset where I'm going to watch CNN all day and be like, you know, what do they tell? You know, I don't necessarily just trust what they're telling us about it, but at the same time, who knows?
Yeah, I think I'm like you. They're fun to talk about, man.
Yeah,
and it does get exciting. Like, there was that little bit there where they were having those like conversations in Congress where they were interviewing those guys, and I was hoping something was going to come out of that, and then nothing. Then it fizzled out. Now it's like no one's talking about aliens anymore.
What did you think of the Mexican aliens that came in the shoe boxes or whatever?
Yeah, did you see the little aliens?
Yeah, that did not look real at all to me, at least.
Yeah, paper mache.
I find that. Well, that's. I mean, man. I mean, with aliens in general, I've had experiences because I've like, I don't know, like I think if you immerse yourself in that information, for example, like if you do a lot of research on aliens or maybe, I think they kind of get near you more. If that makes sense.
Cool.
Like, you kind of have to like put yourself around that information. Because I mean, have you guys had personal experiences with this kind of stuff, or maybe know people that have like obsessed about maybe a certain experience or?
I desperately always wanted to have an experience. In fact, I've gone on creepy late night walks and like gone out to the pier and just hoped to see something.
Our dad, he's got a fascinating
our dad's
story.
got a
He
good
told us that like back when this would have been in the 80s, that like they were in Toronto and they were driving down the highway and there were these lights in the sky like hovering over the city, and everyone pulled off the highway to look at these things, and he was like, this is incredible. Like, they were like, this is not normal. Like, everyone is staring at this. And then he was like, the next day, he said there was like some ridiculous news report about it on TV, like giving some lame excuse about what the heck was happened. And he was like, that is not it. That is not what happened. And then it fizzled out and never heard about it again. But that seems to be like the case in so many situations, man. Where like it's like there's everyone gets all excited and giddy about something that happens, and then it fizzles out and then it's gone.
Well, the other funny kind of thing about that story is he said our mother was with him at the time, and she was like kind of freaking out and like, what do you think they want? You know, and then the next day when it came out in the news that it was a weather balloon or something, she was like, oh, see, I told you. And it was like, you were freaking out. Like, we saw something, you know? Which is just, I don't know, that to me, that's kind of typical human psychology, that people would take any kind of explanation over something that might shock you.
And I also think when it comes to aliens, I'm also like, I wonder like how much of all these reports and stuff, like anything that comes out on mainstream media, I'm always like, oh man, what are they blinding us from now? I'm like, because I just like, what are we getting distracted from? Like, why are we looking at this thing? What are we missing while they dangle this little thing in front of us all? I'm constantly thinking that when
chemical truck has gone off the road.
Yeah, something terrible's happening somewhere when I see them bringing out aliens on mainstream media.
And I actually saw that one of your video titles, I never saw the video, but one of them was that you interviewed somebody that had an encounter.
Yeah. She's had plenty of encounters. I mean, she's from Mount Shasta. So that's like a popular site. It's Northern California. So that's like a popular mountain area. And I think it's the root chakra of the center whatever of the Earth.
Ooh.
So
Awesome.
a lot of people claim to have UFO sightings, encounters with interdimensional beings. Probably like a race of, they call Lumerians live in that area.
Oh,
So
yeah.
it's a very spiritual place. You'll find a lot of like hippies and stuff. And
That's what I was talking about. That was that alien spirituality overlap that I was talking about.
There you go.
yeah.
So from having that interview, is that when you found that you had more like it got closer to you in your personal life, or was it prior to that?
Oh no, I was like way back, like when I was like a kid and stuff. I always found an obsession around like, for some reason, had an obsession around demons and angels, or not angels, demons and aliens.
Right.
Like I thought, like, because that kind of shows itself more. Like if you're to kind of ask somebody about a haunted house story, a lot of people will have some of an experience of like haunted houses, and I've had my own kind of weird stuff happen around me. So it's like it's very obvious that there's some kind of something supernatural going on. So
Yeah.
there's that, and then like I don't know, I found aliens super fascinating, so I kind of just did a bunch of research about CIA stuff or whatnot. And then I've seen like the lights and stuff. I've had weird dreams on aliens. I've never actually, obviously, I've never seen an alien as real as you right here in front of me, but in terms
Yeah.
like in another dimension, I've seen stuff like that, but it's not like.